Believe on him and turn from your sins. Doesn't ignore the debt, but neither are we asking here, Father, just give me more time and I'll pay it back. Father, I promise to do better in the future. That would be trying to bargain with God. That's often the reaction of a person in debt. He tries to bargain with his creditors. But that won't work with God. The idea that man could pay the debt of himself, that is widespread among the church world. That's widespread among unbelieving man who walks along the street in Limerick, I would well imagine. The idea is, all of your good works will cancel out most, if not all, of your bad works. So in the end, your debt will be cancelled because you will have paid for that debt. And how do you pay off that debt? Well, you need to get some merit. Merit is something that you have earned or that you have deserved by your own activity. And merit, we are told, especially in the Roman Catholic Church, but not only in the Roman Catholic Church, is available. Merit is available. You can get a good supply of merit. Build up for yourself a good supply in the sight of God. Through prayers, through penance, through pilgrimages, through something as simple as lighting candles. All kinds of religious observances are available to you, and you can get merit. And if at the end of your life you haven't got enough merit, you can apply for some of the merit of the saints, because we are told there is an inexhaustible supply of merit up there in heaven, earned by Jesus, yes, but also by the Blessed Virgin Mary, as they call her, and also by all of the saints. They have a huge amount of merit, a big bank full of merit. And you can have some of that merit if you fulfill the conditions that that heavenly bank demands. And then you can go to purgatory, that fictional place that Rome has invented. You can go to purgatory, and there you can pay off the rest of your debt that you didn't manage to pay off in this life. That's the answer, they say, to your debt problem. Now, is that possible? Let's look at that for a few moments. Is that possible? It's impossible, first, because we have nothing with which to pay. And therefore, it is impossible for us to merit anything in the sight of God. If you performed any good works, if they could even be called good works, they're not merit. You owed them to God already. Luke 17, verse 10 is the passage which utterly destroys the idea of merit. So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants, we have done that which was our duty to do. The idea there is, when you have performed perfect, lifelong obedience, have you earned any merit with God? No. All you can say is, we are unprofitable, that means useless, good for nothing, servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. And no one has even done all that has been commanded of them. So merit is a complete non-starter. We have nothing to pay with. Second, our debt is steadily increasing. I looked at a website this week called usdebtclock.org. You can see the US national debt. You can see the numbers going up and up and up and up every second. Look at that for a few minutes and your head will spin. That's the idea that we have of our debt. Every day that we live upon this earth, we add to our debt. We add to our positive obligation because we have lived another day in which we were supposed to obey God with our whole heart and soul and mind and strength, and we haven't done that. And we have lived another day during which we have sinned. And so we have added to our debt. You can imagine numbers going up and up and up and up and up before the face of God. If you live for 100 years, therefore, even if you were a very nice person every day of those 100 years, at the end of 100 years, you would have 100 years worth of debt and no merit on your account. And there's no possibility of paying it off after death either. Because to merit with God, in a fictional place called purgatory, you would have to suffer under the wrath of God and at the same time continue to love Him with your whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. Those, if we were to assume there was a purgatory, those who would be there would be suffering under the wrath of God, and they would not be loving God with their whole heart and soul and mind and strength. In fact, they would be cursing God. They would be hating God. They would be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Rome says that the fires of purgatory are exactly the same as the fires of hell, for one difference is this: hell is forever, purgatory has an end. And so there is no possibility, even if you were there for 1,000,000 years in purgatory, you would still have made in those 1,000,000 years in purgatory no payment on your original debt. You would have added 1,000,000 years worth of debt to that original debt. And so Jesus says in Matthew 5:26, "Thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing." That does not give a person a possibility of one day possibly coming out, but rather he means never. You'll never come out. You'll never be able to pay off the uttermost farthing because you've nothing to pay with, and you're always increasing your debt. And in fact, to suggest to God that you could make a payment for your own debt, even a partial payment of that debt, would be an insult to God, an insult to Him. If you owed the bank 100,000 euros, you went to the bank manager and said, "Here is half a pound of potatoes, pay off my debt." What would he say to you? "Get out of my office." Or worse, if you went to him and said, "Here are a dozen paper clips from your own drawer, which I'm giving to you to pay off my debt." That's a kind of analogy which we're talking about here. Everything that you have, you already owe to God. You have nothing that you can give to God on top of what you already owe to God. And those who come before God, and those who stand before God on the last day of judgment and say to God, "Look, God, I have done this and the other thing, and therefore I believe, O Lord, that I have paid off my debt," all they do is anger God with their presumption, with their wicked pride. And they say to God, look what I have done. And God will say to them, away with you. Depart from me into everlasting fire. Who do you think you are, you insolent wretch, coming before me with your paltry works? It's filthy rags in my sight, it's dung in my sight. Who do you think you are? And in going that route of merit and paying off your own debt, you are trampling Jesus Christ underfoot. You are saying, "I don't need Jesus Christ.